There's a question most men have thought about, but never say out loud. Not because it's taboo, because it feels like admitting defeat. Why does she always seem to have one foot out the door? Why can real love, real commitment, real connection suddenly mean nothing when someone better comes along? And here's what makes it worse. That someone better isn't random. He's taller, more successful, more dominant, more something you weren't. You gave everything, loyalty, time, presence, and still you lost. Not to chance, to calculation. Today, we're going to talk about the mechanics behind that choice, the invisible algorithm running beneath what we call attraction. And more importantly, we're going to address the resentment that follows, the kind that doesn't get shouted, doesn't get cried out, but slowly hardens into bitterness. Because until you understand the game, you'll keep playing it wrong. 1. The illusion of love. Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher who called women long hair and short ideas, wasn't just being cruel. He was wounded. His philosophy wasn't built on cold logic. It was built on heartbreak dressed up as intellect. Schopenhauer believed that love isn't what we think it is. It's not a spiritual bond. It's not fate. It's not two souls recognizing each other across a crowded room. It's a trap. A biological con job designed to make you reproduce. He called it the will to live, this blind, unstoppable force driving every living thing to survive, to reproduce, to keep the species going. And romantic love? Just the bait. You think you're choosing someone because of connection, because they understand you, because it feels right. But Schopenhauer would say you're being played. The will doesn't care about your happiness, it cares about your genes. And when a woman chooses a man, she's not choosing based on poetry or kindness or how well you listen. On a level she's not even aware of, she's asking, can he protect? Can he provide? Does he have the traits that give my children the best chance? It's not sentiment, it's strategy. Evolution optimized her radar over millions of years, and that radar doesn't scan for goodness, it scans for capability, for strength, for momentum. This is what Schopenhauer saw, and it broke him. Because once you see love as a mechanism instead of magic, you can't unsee it. 2. The algorithm of desire. Let's give it a name. Hypergamy. It's not a buzzword, it's not misogyny, it's an observable pattern across cultures and centuries. Women, on average, seek partners who are equal to or above them in status, resources, or capability. Not because they're shallow, because survival used to depend on it. A woman in prehistoric times who chose poorly didn't just risk disappointment, she risked death for herself, for her children. So nature sharpened her instincts. She learned to detect strength, competence, direction. And those instincts didn't disappear when we built cities and invented dating apps. They just evolved. Today, she's not scanning for the best hunter. She's scanning for purpose, confidence, a man who's moving forward, who knows where he's going. And here's where the heartbreak lives. Being a good man isn't always enough. You can be loyal, kind, supportive. You can show up every single day, do the right thing, love with everything you have, and still not be desired. You might be loved, respected, appreciated, but not wanted. Not in that raw, magnetic way that makes someone choose you over everyone else. Because desire operates on different rules than morality. And if you don't understand those rules, you end up crushed, confused, asking yourself what you did wrong. That's when the poison starts to spread. 3. The birth of resentment. Most men don't know how to process rejection. Not because they're weak, because they were never taught. So instead of grief, there's silence. Instead of healing, there's hardening. The pain gets buried, It wears masks, sarcasm, detachment, cynicism. All women are the same. Love is a scam. She's just like the rest. But underneath those phrases is something much simpler. I gave everything, and I still wasn't enough. That's the wound. And when that wound doesn't heal, it rots. It becomes ideology. It becomes entire communities built on bitterness, where pain is validated and blame becomes a lifestyle. Schopenhauer fell into this trap. His contempt for women wasn't philosophical, it was personal. He had a cold, emotionally distant mother, failed romances where he wasn't the chosen one. He wasn't speaking as a detached intellectual. He was speaking as a man who felt invisible. And that's what makes his ideas dangerous. Because when you take personal trauma and dress it up as universal truth, you stop growing. You stop asking hard questions about yourself. You just point fingers. How many men today are walking around with that same wound? How many played the role of protector, provider, loyal partner, and still got replaced? Because here's the truth most people avoid. Men don't just want companionship. They want to be chosen, to be desired, not just accepted. They want to be the one who makes her eyes light up, not just the one who pays the bills. And when they're not, the pain doesn't get processed. It gets weaponized. 4. The real problem. Here's what no one tells you. Desire doesn't reward goodness, it rewards growth. You can follow every rule, be the nice guy, do everything right, and still lose. Not because you're a bad man, but because you're playing by the wrong rules. You were told, be kind, be loyal, be supportive, and love will follow. But that's not how attraction works. Attraction isn't fair, it isn't moral, it doesn't care about effort. It responds to energy, to purpose, to power. Not dominance in a toxic sense, but the kind of internal power that comes from knowing who you are and where you're going. When you don't project that, she might not even see you. And this is where so many men get stuck. They do everything right and still end up invisible, still get replaced, still lose to someone who seems worse on paper, but better in presence. It's not because women are cruel, it's because the game has rules you were never taught. So what now? Do you give up, turn bitter, join the echo chambers online where pain turns into performance? Or do you learn the rules and then rise on your own terms? 5. The path forward. Understanding hypergamy doesn't mean becoming a slave to it. It doesn't mean twisting yourself into some fake version of high value. It means learning how attraction actually works, then using that knowledge to build yourself, not to chase approval. The answer isn't outcompeting every man for validation. That's a race you'll either lose or lose yourself in. The real answer is this: compete against your past self. Wake up every day asking, where can I grow? Where am I being passive when I should act? Where have I been waiting for permission instead of taking the lead? Because when you focus on becoming the most grounded, capable, purpose-driven version of yourself, not to impress, but to evolve, you stop needing approval. You stop begging for love. You start radiating something deeper: calm, confidence, certainty. And here's the paradox. That's when you become attractive, not because you chased it, but because you no longer need it. You're not invincible to rejection, but rejection no longer breaks you. You've built something deeper, a core, a foundation, a kingdom within. And if someone leaves, if someone doesn't choose you, you don't collapse, you regroup, you rebuild, you rise. Nietzsche, who both admired and criticized Schopenhauer, had a concept for this, the Übermensch.
Not dominating others, dominating the self, mastering your impulses, overcoming your bitterness, transforming your wound into wisdom, your pain into purpose.
In conclusion, yes, maybe she wanted something more. Maybe she left. Maybe she compared you to someone else and found you lacking. That hurts. It cuts deep. But you don't have to stay in that place. You don't have to let that wound define you. You can turn it into fuel. You don't grow by resenting what you can't control. You grow by building what you can. Your strength, your clarity, your mission. Don't beg for love. Don't cling out of fear. Don't hate what you can't possess. Build yourself. Forge your own path. Know your worth. Not because someone else says you have it, but because you've earned it. And if she leaves, let her. Because when you know who you are, when your value is rooted inside, abandonment is no longer your greatest fear. It's just another step on the path to mastery.